Well, it has been an entire year of 2.2, and 2.2 has been great. We've seen so many awesome levels, and it's just been a lot more fun. But in this video, I'm going to be talking about possibly one of my favorite things in 2.2, the legendary and mythic levels. It's only been a year, and we already have over 60 legendaries and about 10 mythics. This is just insane. At the beginning of 2.2, I would expect no more than like 5 mythics in the first year, and I thought there'd be like 30 legendaries at most. But with the help of all the new awesome features and the NCS Gauntlet competitions, we got a lot more awesome levels than I expect. So in this video, I'm going to talk about every single legendary and mythic in the game and rate them all from my least favorite to my favorite. And with so many of these levels, this video is going to be very long, and I'm going to quickly talk about each level and try to go through them really fast just to make this video not way too long. But I'll still try to give my opinion about them and enough of a reason why I like them or dislike them. And just a reminder, this video is entirely my opinion, and if you disagree with everything I say in this video, that is completely fine. Every level I'm going to be talking about here is a great level, and I know the creators put a ton of effort into all of them. Anyways, let me know if y'all disagree or agree with what I said in this video, and yeah, let's get into it. Alright, in last place, we probably got the most questionable legendary in the game, Zone Pirate 5. So this level is part of a series of 4 other levels that are kind of like really similar, and yeah, this level just doesn't really feel like it does anything too special. It does have some cool looking things throughout a bit, but it's nothing too insane for me to think it's a legendary worthy. But still, it's not like it's a terrible level or anything, and it's pretty sad to see the creator get hate for something that RobTop decided. Overall, it's an okay level, has some cool things in it, but it's kind of bland and a bit boring. Alright, next up we got the first frog themed level of the list. We've got Crud. Crud is one of the earliest legendaries and just has really bad collab syndrome. Like, you got some amazing looking parts like Kolek's part and this first part that looks cool, but then you got some parts that look like barely feature worthy. I just feel like this level is kind of a mess, and I'm kind of convinced it only got legendary because it was made by a famous Elder mod. But it's definitely got a few really nice looking parts, but just really unbalanced on quality. Alright, this is gonna be a really hot take, but next up I gotta say Dissonance. I know that a lot of people really like this level, but personally I just don't see the hype. I'm a pretty big effect level hater, and yeah, I just feel like this looks pretty messy and nothing that I like about it really. It definitely has good song representation, even though I find the song to be very annoying, but I mean, it's still got some pretty cool effects, and I think everybody else likes it besides me. Alright, next up we got Great Asset. So this level seemed around a game called Lethal Company, which I've never played, so I don't really get the hype about this level. I just feel like it's a bit empty throughout the whole thing. There's just nothing too mind-blowing about this to me, but I did enjoy beating it. At least the gameplay was very forgiving and sight readable, which was nice, and at least it has like some pretty cool parallax effects, and it's still a pretty cool level. I'm just not a huge fan of it. Alright, next up we've got Lotus. This is another level that I'm kind of just a hater of this style, and I don't think other people dislike it as much as I do. Yeah, I don't know, I just feel like this level looks kind of weird, and I'm not too much of a huge fan of it, although it's got some cool looking stuff. I just found it to be decently forgettable and sort of messy, but it's still definitely a well made level, and the song is a banger too. Alright, next up we've got the first legendary of the game, Coaster Mountain. So Coaster Mountain, I definitely think this deserved legendary for the time. It's so cool how this was made so fast into 2.2. It's got good design and great atmosphere, and it has a cool theme. I don't think in recent times it would get legendary, but I would say it definitely was worthy of the first legendary. It's a great level. You gotta love the talking penguins, and the log cabin you end in is really cool. Overall, a very solid first legendary. Alright, next up we've got Oblivion. This level is pretty nice and all. I just found it to be pretty forgettable just because it's sort of a basic pixel platformer. I am just kind of a hater of pixel deco. I don't really like how it looks too much. And yeah, this level is good for how long it is, and it's definitely a good level overall. I just found it to be pretty forgettable. Alright, next up we've got Slasher. So Slasher, this is an interesting level. It's a actual 9 circles themed level that isn't our Geometry Dash 9 circles. It's definitely got some cool art and cool parallax effects, but I don't know why, I just don't really like this level. I did beat this level, and I just didn't find it enjoyable to play. The camera rotation made it kind of annoying, and it was kind of hard to tell what were obstacles and not. There's actually some nice looking parts in this level, but a lot of things that I just think look pretty mid. It's definitely a cool level though. Alright, next up we've got Other Side. This is definitely a cool level and has some really great atmosphere. It's got a nice rainy effect, and it's a pretty cool horror-ish platformer level. But I don't know, I just found this to be decently forgettable. It's a cool level though, just nothing too amazing. It kind of seems like a pain to play, but I haven't beat it, so I'm not sure. Alright, next up we've got the new event level, Cheat Codes. I think this level's alright. I feel like the decoration isn't anything too spectacular, but it's definitely cool. The gameplay is nice and sight readable, and it's good to play, and the boss fight's pretty cool. The last section with the alien UFOs is really nice though, and the ending animation with like the 3D cube is sick. Once again, a very cool level, but nothing too spectacular. Alright, next up we've got one of the earlier legendaries, Tornado. So this level is kind of a mixed bag. The beginning is pretty mid and looks kind of weird. Then the mansion part is also alright, nothing too crazy. But then you get to a section where a tornado tears down the mansion you're in, and that's just such a sick part. Then you gotta jump around flying debris in the tornado, and then you like fall into the water at the end, and it has like this cool animation. I just think this level is really cool with the tornado scene, but everything before the tornado scene is really not that cool. But yeah, I just can't get over how sick the part where the tornado tears down the mansion is. It's just very awesome. And I also found this one very enjoyable to play. I'm just a pretty big fan of this level. Dang, we've only gone through like 10 levels. This is gonna be such a long video. Alright, next up we've got Arctic Alpine. Once again, I would say this level is kind of a mixed bag. The beginning looks pretty mid, there's some parts that look kind of mid, and then there's a few really cool parts. I love the last part, and I absolutely love this part with the chairlift. I think this is so sick. And yeah, there's some other parts that are just so mid to me. Like, why does the beginning not even have any spike design? Overall, it's a very fun level. I enjoyed beating it quite a bit, and it's definitely a cool level too. Alright, next up we've got Kara Space. Kara Space is a very nice level with a lot of very cool effects and visuals in it, especially the part with the spinny wheel thing wherever you just see the whole level rotating around you. I think that part's actually so sick. Other than that though, I kind of found the level to be forgettable, and I haven't even beaten it because it's just such a pain to sight read. But yeah, it's definitely got some awesome effects in it too. Alright, next up we've got another one, the earlier legendary Slash, not to be confused with Slasher. This is a platformer level where you play as like some dog ninja, and this level is just really fun. The mechanic works perfectly, and the story is cool where you like gotta save some other dog. I love how there's like some bad wolf guys in it too, and the part at the end where everything explodes around you feels like a very sick ending. And yeah, there's definitely some cooler levels that have been made since, but this level is awesome for its time, and I had a really good time beating this. I'm just very surprised how smooth the mechanic works and how perfectly it plays. Alright, next up we've got another platformer level, Cog. So Cog is a really cool level where you like are inside of a big cog, hence the name. It has some obstacles that sync to the beat, and it's just a really cool level. It's got a really cool idea to it. However, I haven't played it myself, but I've heard that it's a pain to play, and also it looks sort of empty. I mean, I get that this level would be weird if it was like more decorated, but still, it is just a tad empty, I guess. But the level's got an awesome idea, and I definitely think it was worthy of the legendary rating. Alright, next up we've got Get Happier. I know a lot of people like this level a lot, but I don't know, I just find it forgettable and kind of empty looking. I just don't really get this level. Yeah, it's probably a pretty hot take, but I don't know, I'm just not too much of a huge fan. I don't have much to say about this. Alright, next up we've got Chupacabra. This level's got some awesome shader usage and a lot of awesome art with some awesome animations. However, this level has a very big problem, and that is that this might have the worst optimization out of any legendary or mythic in the game. Yeah, it just lags really badly due to all the animations. The animations are really cool, but it lags a bit more than it should. I also didn't even beat the level because the last duel is just so blind to play, and I don't want to attempt to learn that. But other than that, the gameplay doesn't seem bad at all. Alright, next up we've got Exotic Soul. Now, Soul has a lot of really nice looking stuff and a lot of really cool artwork. However, I found the level to be pretty messy, and I didn't really enjoy playing it too much, but it still looks great, and it's very unique, and it has a pretty banger song too. Alright, next up we've got Among Us and Geometry Dash Mystery Mansion. This level I found a bit janky to control, and the design in it looks cool though. There's some cool looking decoration, and the overall area looks very cool. I just don't think it's a bad level at all, and I saw it getting some hate. I think it's a bit overhated, but still found it to be a bit forgettable. Alright, next up we've got another early legendary, the Gungeon. Now, this also has a lot of cool guys shooting at you with guns and a lot of just really sick guns, and it's very cool the way it works. It's got some awesome bosses too, but I found the design and aesthetic to be very repetitive. I also found it to be not too fun to play, and it was kind of boring. It wasn't bad to play either, and just the mechanic is really cool. It is a very neat level. Alright, next up we've got one of the most recent levels on the list, Ruins. I think this level is a tad of a mess, but it definitely has some sick effects and some really genius particle usage in it, but I find it to be a bit weird looking. It's definitely got some really cool stuff in it though. Alright, we're about a quarter way done, and this is already longer than most of my videos. I'm gonna try to speed things up a bit here for more of the middle tier legendary levels. Alright, next up we've got Deep Dive. Deep Dive kind of has some weird looking decoration in my opinion, but it's got some sick ideas. The part where you go on this giant wave is awesome. The shark and eel animations are so smooth. The part with the ship parallax effect is awesome. And yeah, it's a very sick level with some designs that I would say are kind of ugly, but a lot of designs that look awesome. Alright, next up we got personally my favorite event level yet, Citadel. This is definitely got to be my favorite subwoofer level. It's got some really cool things in it. Some of the ideas are really cool. I really like these spiky balls that roll towards the screen. I just think those are so sick. But the gameplay in this is kind of a pain, and it's pretty on-site readable. The last ship is very annoying. I fluked this from like 40%, so I did not have a bad time with this at all, and I got pretty lucky, but I'm sure if I died to the end at all, I would have hated the gameplay of this. But yeah, decoration's cool, and it's got some very cool cool deco ideas in it too. Alright, next up we've got Geometry Quest. For some reason I found this to be a tad forgettable, although this is a really cool level. The decoration's cool, the theme and the ideas are cool, and I like it quite a bit. A very solid level. Alright, next up we got another really recent one, Experiment. Well, I think the decoration for this is fairly mid. The idea of this level is awesome. It's really cool seeing a level pull off something like this with this infinite loop thing you gotta escape. And yeah, it's always really cool to see levels try out these pretty unordinary things that are sick. And it still maintains cool decoration too. Alright, next up we got Wistful Wilds. This all just looks great. It just has really nice looking decoration and cool animal animations. However, it feels pretty short and the gameplay is just very basic, but I still love how the level looks. Alright, next up we got Last Fate. This all uses pixel decoration really well and it has very nice atmosphere and a lot of cool mechanics. I think there's a couple of really cool parts in this level. I like this part where there's like arrows shooting at you quite a lot. And yeah, I dig this level. It is quite awesome. Alright, next up we got another NCS Gauntlet entry. I don't know how you say the name of this. Do you say like Cube Runator or something? Okay, this level is very nice. I mean, I don't really like pixel deco that much often, but this is really cool. It has a lot of really cool details all around. The big robots look great, and yeah, it's just a very good looking level overall. However, I found the gameplay to be a bit annoying, but it wasn't that bad. Alright, now we're getting into the territory of pretty much all levels that I like a lot. Every level from here on I'd consider to be a banger. Next up, we got the level that promotes a gambling casino blitz. This level just has a lot of charm, and it really feels like a collab where the creators were just having fun making it. And it still has some cool decoration. Some parts look really messy, but a lot of it looks really nice and has a lot of really cool looking things in it, like this spinny wheel looks awesome. It's a pretty funny level, and the song is a banger too. I like the song a lot. Alright, next up we've got City Fade. I don't like this nearly as much as most people do, but I still like this level a lot. I think the beginning looks kind of empty, but it gets a lot better on, and it just has a really cool atmosphere of like going through a city. And yeah, it just really has a lot of neat designs. It's a very nice level overall. Alright, next up we got another recent one, Air Fryer. This level's got a lot of really cool things going on in it. Although I don't really understand the level, I can appreciate the visuals. It's got some very good visuals. And I really like this one UFO part. I feel like this looks a lot better than the rest of the level. Alright, next up we got ISS Icy Stars. This is a very nice looking NCS Gauntlet entry, and while I think some of it kind of looks like generic glow, a lot of parts look really great. This part with like the city scenery in the background is awesome, and this part where there's a train and all this awesome parallax, I love this a lot. But then I think some parts look kind of weird and a bit of a mess. Alright, next up we got another NCS Gauntlet entry that somehow didn't even get in the top 20 even though it got legendary. This is Summer Gallery. This level, it's just such a nice level. The art in it looks so good, and it just has like a sweet story to it. It's very cool the way that the cube and game modes just go with real life objects around you. Like, this is the type of thing, if I was bored, I would just imagine an icon from Geometry as jumping around things. It's just such a neat level, and I don't get why it didn't get in the top 20, but at least it got legendary, which was nice. Alright, next up we got a space themed platformer Orbiter. This level's got a very cool vibe to it, some cool decoration, but it is pixel deco though. But it's definitely a very cool level. I just think the part wherever you're like in space on these objects and stuff looks a bit weird, but I dig this level a lot. You gotta love the bench press mechanic at the beginning too. Alright, next up we got one of the more weird legendaries, the Tapala Prelude. This level is just really funny. I mean, how can you not like this level? This level is just pure cinema. But with all seriousness, it kind of reminds me of like those 2.2 lobotomy animations at the start of the update, but a lot better and a lot longer. It's got good sound effects and it's very long, and I'm impressed that someone made like a full TV show episode in Geometry Dash, and it looks good. Definitely worthy of the first auto legendary. Alright, next up we got the how do you say this, Eeyore Rock? I don't know. This level is very neat. Even though it's kind of short, it just has some really cool looking deco. But there are a couple weird things about this level. The gameplay is alright. It's not too fun, but not too bad. The death effects are kind of funny, but kind of enraging at the same time. And you can get a free 99% on this level, which is kind of funny too. But I don't like the song. I find the song to be very annoying, but it's still a cool level for sure. It has a really cool style with a lot of clean looking animations. Alright, next up we've got Armored Core. This is just a sick level. I don't know how Matthew Game makes all these insane levels, but at the same time I really don't know why, but I found this to be a bit forgettable. I just feel like it was kind of similar to the Gungeon, like the shooting mechanic felt really similar, but it's a very awesome level. I don't know how this was made in Geometry Dash. It's very sick. Alright, next up we got another very sick level, the Incinerator. While this level does look a bit messy and weird in some parts, it has a lot of really cool art, and the boss animation is so smooth. The end animation flying a spaceship is very awesome, and the gameplay is fun. I enjoyed it quite a bit. I definitely think it's one of the most fun NCS Gauntlet entries, and I think it got fairly placed at number 10. Alright, next up we've got the Royal Roost to Ruins. I don't fully understand the theme of this level. It's like ruins with dragons, but it looks very cool, and the dragons dragons look very cool. It's just some very good looking deco, and the gameplay is fun too. I like how the last part looks quite a bit. That's gotta be my favorite part. Alright, we are finally about halfway into the list, but probably not halfway into the video. I don't really know. I guess you'll know though. Anyways, this is gonna be a very hot take, but next up, I gotta say Terminus. I just don't really see why this got Mythic. I just feel like it's pretty unoriginal. It's kind of just another Space Invaders type thing. But yeah, I mean, it definitely is cool the way it progresses, and the final boss with the mothership thingy looks very cool. It has some cool mechanics, but yeah, I just feel like this idea is really not too original. Not a huge fan of it, but it is still a very, very cool level though. Alright, next up we've got Absurdia. Absurdia is just awesome. It's just so clean. It has a lot of very nice effects and design. I'm usually not a big fan of this style, but I dig this level quite a lot. It's just got cool energy, cool gameplay, and just a very neat level overall. Alright, next up we got everyone's favorite fish marriage themed level, Strange Relationship. I mean, this level is just so weird and funny. How could you not like this? But unironically, this level is just filled to the brim with a bunch of really clean art and a lot of great details. It's so weird but so cool at the same time. You gotta love the happy ending where you successfully get married to the fish. I found the gameplay to be a tiny bit boring, but just a tiny bit. It was pretty enjoyable though, for sure. One might say this is a strange level, and it definitely is, but it is very cool. Alright, next up we got one of the earliest legendaries in the entire game that I still like a lot, Stratus. This level is just sick. It's kind of unbalanced in quality and has a few parts that I feel like are decently ugly, but it also has a ton of really clean and nice looking parts and has cool end art too. The gameplay seems well made. I haven't played it though because I suck at flowy levels and I don't want to try it, but I've heard it's pretty fun. I think the level has great energy, the song's a banger, and yeah, it's just really cool for being this early into 2.2. I do want to beat this someday, but I just suck way too much at flowy gameplay to do that right now. Alright, next up, this is gonna be a really hot take, but I'm gonna say Comatose. Now, I know a ton of people think this is Mythic worthy and like the best legendary in the game, and I could see why, but I just don't really think that. Sure, it fits with the song very well. There's a lot of really awesome parts, like the part where you ascend the mountain and you're shown on the map, and this is amazing quality for being as long as it is. But also, I just feel like some parts are kind of weird and so empty, just a couple of them. I mean, I know it's like for the atmosphere, but still, I just don't like when things are empty. But it's definitely a great level though, and the parts that aren't empty look amazing. Alright, next up we've got another Mythic, the Towerverse. I honestly wasn't the biggest fan of this whenever it came out, but it grew into me quite a bit. I think I was just judging it so harshly because it was the first Mythic. But I think everything about this level is amazing. The story, the atmosphere, it's just great. The speech bubbles are really cool, all the little talking mushrooms and neat details like that. But I feel like the decoration is just not as incredible as a Mythic level's decoration should be. I just feel like it's a bit of basic pixel. It's definitely better than basic pixel deco, but it's not like the craziest decoration ever. But yeah, other than the decoration, this level is just perfect. Besides the propeller part, that part plays a bit annoyingly, at least from what I remember whenever I played it in practice mode, but maybe I just wasn't doing it right, I don't know. Alright, next up we've got Spire of Arcanum, or however you say this. This level's got a really cool theme where you like ascend up a tower and it gets darker the further you go. I can really appreciate the fact that this level isn't fully pixel deco and looks a bit different than any other pixel platform. It's got some really cool power-ups and things like that, cool atmosphere, and it's just a very well done level. Definitely one of my favorite platformer levels in the game. Alright, next up we've got the Retro Tower. Yes, I like the Retro Tower a bit more than the Towerverse. I feel like this level is so sick when you play the level on the console and then like you break out of the console. There's so many epic transitions in this level and it just looks so cool. And then the fake end screen is so awesome too. Like, this genuinely got me the first time I watched it. I actually thought the level was over. It's just really well made. It's so sick. I dig this a bit more than the Towerverse. Alright, next up we've got Neo Zenith. This level is sick and uses a lot of awesome 3D effects and 3D things. It just looks very, very, very cool. The ending especially looks so sick. I mean, there's just so many 3D shapes. I don't know how this was made. However, the gameplay is very annoying. I tried it in practice mode and I don't know, I just don't get this gimmick. This just doesn't make sense to me. It feels so awkward. Like, I'm probably not going to beat this anytime soon because it just seems kind of like a nightmare to play. But I mean, I'm not 100% sure about it. I didn't beat the full level. I just tried it a bit in practice mode. But it looks sick. It has great deco going forward at least. Alright, we got another NCS Gauntlet level. Everyone's favorite Bussin'. Okay, yes. I mean, this level might be a tad brain rotted, but it's really well made. Come on. Call me brain rotted all you want, but I think this level is quite funny. It's just well made. It's got cool transitions, good effects and everything, and the decoration looks good, and the Cybertruck here actually looks 3D. It's very cool. The gameplay is alright too. It's a bit annoying, but it's not bad. But yeah, I can see why people don't like this level because it is very brain rotted, but it's well made. Come on. Alright, next up we've got Pixel Path 2, another Mythic. This level has a cool vibe. have been. Yeah, it's just a very nice level. It's got a really cool atmosphere, some intense parts, some very nice parts. The decoration is a bit messy, but really good for the most part. However, the optimization in this level is really not good at all, and I haven't played it myself, but I heard that it's really horrible to play. I heard that you like can't tell it's an obstacle or not. I tried it myself a bit, and that seemed to be an issue. I don't want to try to beat it because it doesn't seem very fun, but it's still a great level with some awesome vibes to it. Alright, next up we've got Pluto. This is a pretty recent legendary level with some very cool effects and parallax effects. It's just very atmospheric and cool and very clean. But yeah, it's a fun level too. I beat it. It's pretty long, but pretty fun and sight readable. I don't really understand this level, but it's still very cool. Alright, next up we've got Eternal Gungeon. Honestly, I don't know too much about this level, but I feel like just this whole 3D-ish, 2D-ish type thing looks really cool. It's nothing way too crazy, but I don't know. I just like how this looks a lot. I feel like the design is great. And yeah, once again, it's just mind-blowing how Matthew Game makes these mechanics work in Geometry Dash. Alright, next up we got O2. This is a recreation of Osu in Geometry Dash, and it is a very good recreation. The interfaces and menus look awesome. There's some really neat art in these menus. And yeah, it's just really well remade, but the only thing is it's sort of a direct copy from Osu. Like, not a direct copy, but too similar to where it's pretty unoriginal, but still definitely very cool. Alright, next up we've got the one and only downgraded Mythic Tears of Denial. So yeah, once again, it's insane that this was made in Geometry Dash, and it is really cool, but of course we all know why this got downgraded. And yeah, the fact that this all copies so much from a different game, I think it was called Worldless, I'm not 100% sure if that's right, just brings it down quite a bit for me, but it's still a very cool and well made level for sure. It just brings it down for me a little bit to know that it's a bit stolen, but still very impressive and sick nonetheless. Alright, next up we've got the one and only winner of the NCS Gauntlet contest, Berserker. So yeah, some of y'all may know how I feel about this level. There's some parts in this level that look very mid, and it's kind of carried by a lot of really cool transitions. Yeah, this level has some really awesome transitions, which I kind of feel like carries it, and has some really awesome parts too, but then there's some parts like this that just don't look that cool. But the animation with the skeleton driving the car is very sick though, come on. And yeah, I really do like this level a lot, but I don't think it deserved to win. But it is really creative, and it fits the song well, and the song is a banger. Alright, we're getting up into the top 20 now. We're entering the territory of levels that I really like. Every level from here on, yeah, I'm just a huge fan of all these levels. There's something great about all of these levels here, so let's get into it. Starting with Throat of the World. Honestly, I didn't really like this level too much the first time I saw it. Every time I see a new Mythic, I judge it really harshly, of course, and I just thought it was kind of another generic pixel platformer. I also like only watched the first part, which in my opinion the first part looks the ugliest out of all the parts by a decent amount. But then after gathering up the patience to watch the full thing, I like the level a lot more now. It has so much to offer. The atmosphere is incredible, all the sound effects, song usage, and it really feels like an adventure of ascending a mountain where people should not go. The bosses work so well and look absolutely sick, especially the animation whenever this one dies. It looks so violent. I love it. It also just has a lot of cool mechanics, and I heard that it's fun to play too, although I am definitely not good enough at platformer to play this myself. But yeah, the only thing I don't like is that it uses pixel deco. I don't think this is the best pixel deco ever, but I mean, pixel deco doesn't really get much better than this either. The only thing that brings it down for me a bit is just not loving the deco too much. Even though the decoration's still good, everything else about it is just perfect. Alright, next up we've got this level I'm not going to attempt to say the name of, but I know that it's supposed to mean cool frogs, so we'll call it Cool Frogs. Honestly, I feel like this level doesn't have too much in it other than great deco. The decoration in this level is very good, especially the first part and just a lot of parts in this in general. I love the end part with the Minecraft frog. That looks so awesome. Other than having really nice deco, I feel like this level isn't way too special, which is why it's kind of low for me, but it does have really good deco. It's got that. The gameplay's not bad at all, but I feel like the song is kind of boring. That's probably just me though. And I feel like getting so many talented decorators in one place, it could have done a bit more than just make a frog themed level, but at least it looks very nice. Alright, next up we got Subwoofer Lullaby. If I remember correctly, this was only the third legendary, and it still holds up so well after all this time. This level is just beautiful. It looks so good and just has great atmosphere and such a great representation of Minecraft, looking similar but not like a direct copy. And yeah, I just really love the lighting and decoration, and it has a lot of really cool Easter eggs too. Alright, next up we got the Stereo Madness. This was made for the Wabu Stereo Madness competition. Oh my gosh, does this level look amazing. Like actually how detailed it is, the foreground, the parallax, all of it just looks great. Even though it's slightly messy, especially in the C part, it still is just great. It's got a really cool song and it's got good energy. Now the only things that bring it down for me is one thing that's kind of obvious, it just having Stereo Madness gameplay and being kind of a pain to sight read. Another thing disappointing is the name. Like, honestly, I feel like you could have got a little bit more creative than this 8-punch, but I still can't get over how amazing this decoration is, and that makes me like this level a lot. Alright, next up, this will probably be a very hot take, but I'm saying WannaCry. So yeah, WannaCry, I really didn't care for it too much the first time I saw it, but it grew into me a lot. The decoration's awesome, the theme is very cool, the 3D effect at the beginning looks sick, and the song intensity goes super well with the rest of the level. Although I find the designs to be a bit messy, because I always think levels of this style are a bit messy, it still looks great. Like, especially this part where the swing and go back and forth between the screens, the lighting here is just awesome. So I haven't played through the full thing, but I played the beginning a bit, and it just doesn't really make any sense. The depth perception is so weird to me. I've heard from some people that it later on the level gets pretty annoying, and some people say it's fun, so I don't really know. But the decoration is great, and it's a really awesome level though. Alright, next up we've got Working Together. So the first time I saw this, I didn't think anything of it, I didn't understand it, but after looking into it a bit more, I like it a lot. It's just this really well made puzzle game in GD, but this level acts like its own game and private server. You can make levels in this level. The awesome thing is that this creator updates it with community made levels for a Geometry Dash level. Like, honestly, that's just so awesome and creative. It just makes me love this so much, and still the level itself is really cool with the puzzle mechanics and everything. I'd say this is an underrated masterpiece. Alright, next up we've got Quarion. So yeah, Quarion's just an awesome level. That's just a whole nother game inside of Geometry Dash. You got a lot of cool mechanics, cool boss fights, cool designs. It's just a very nice level overall. I haven't played this myself, but I've heard that it's really fun too. And yeah, seeing something like this in GD is always really impressive, but the only thing that brings it down for me is being a pixel deco hater. Of course, I don't really love that everything is pixelated, but I 100% get why. I mean, it works really well. But still, I feel like the design could have been a tiny bit better, but not much. I mean, it's still great looking and definitely worthy of the Mythic. Alright, once again, we got another amazing NCS entry own display. I feel like this level easily should have made it into the gauntlets, and I don't know how it didn't. Like, holy moly, this part actually just looks so amazing. Like, I don't know how to explain this. I don't know why, but this part looks incredible. There's a lot of sick transitions, cool 3D animations, and everything in this level. And then this thing, I don't really know how to explain this, but this looks sick too. There's just not a single part in this level that isn't mind-blowing to me. And yeah, I really hope this level won't be forgotten just because it didn't get into NCS Gauntlet, and I really wish it did. Alright, next up we got possibly one of the most mind-blowing levels I've ever seen, 3-Depth. I mean, yeah, this level just speaks for itself. It is just so incredible. It's just crazy how well this works and just how it was made. It's really mind-blowing, come on. Definitely one of the most impressive things I've ever seen made in this game, but I wouldn't say it's my favorite thing ever, although it's definitely great. I've heard that it is pretty laggy too, and it seems a bit of a pain to play. I mean, come on, what do you expect? It's 3D in GD, of course it's not going to be perfect. Still a very amazing level. Alright, next up we got the second legendary of 2.2, and it's still one of my favorites of all time. We've got And Ever. This level is just a beautiful masterpiece that works so perfectly with the song and has amazing realism deco, and it plays well too. This dragon looks sick, this dolphin looks sick, and the entire level, it just looks great. Not only that, but most of it was made in 2.1, which we all know the 2.1 editor is way harder, and yet it still isn't even close to high objects. The optimization on this is just amazing. Like, seriously, this is the best optimization in any level that I know. I can't think of one with better optimization in this quality. The one little issue is it is one of those types of levels that looks a bit worse as a screenshot and just looks good in motion only, really. But that's kind of a huge nitpick. I still can't believe this is a second legendary and still holds up so incredibly well. Alright, well, we have finally made it into the top 10. Here we're really getting to some of the best levels in all of Geometry Dash, and definitely some of my favorites. The level on number 1's even my favorite level of all time at the moment too. Alright, well, let's get into the top 10, starting with Waterfall. Yep, it's Waterfall. Everyone knows what this is. After multiple years and multiple replaced parts and everything, this level finally got finished a couple months ago, and the result was something amazing. You've got things like Belize part, which is one of the best collab parts in the whole game probably, but still several other parts that look amazing. The decoration is great, the theming is cool, the song fits it very well, and from what I've heard, the gameplay is pretty good too, and the gameplay is cool to watch for sure. Now, the only issues I have with this level is the optimization. The optimization on this level, it's pretty bad, and even my recordings of this will lag on a pretty good PC. And number 2 is a common criticism Cherry Team gets a lot, which I feel like the level's a tad soulless, but I feel like that doesn't really bring the level down too much. I mean, it's still a great level and all. Alright, at number 9 we got Junk Realm. Junk Realm is a solo decorated extreme where the decorators spend over 300 hours on it, and the layout was made by a few people. Honestly, I don't have way too much to say about this other than the decoration is just sick. This looks so cool. There's so many cool details and everything, and yeah, it's just incredible. Obviously, I haven't played this myself, but the gameplay seems pretty fun too. I especially love this junk creature thingy. This looks so sick. And yeah, I might even say this is the best extreme even in the game at the moment. I mean, I really like Clock Tower too. These are like on the same level of quality for me. But what a banger this is. Coming in at number 8, we got Anarchy Road. Anarchy Road, this level has incredible incredible decoration. This level has a cool story, cool theme. It's got like these settings and everything. Like there was so much extra thought put into this level. This is a solo project where the creator spent over 2,000 hours on it, and you could see the effort here. The effort is very respectable in this level too. While I think the ending looks quite a bit worse than the rest, the quality is still really well balanced, and it just has an awesome style to it. I love the song for it also, and it's just really one of the most impressive levels I've ever seen. The amount of effort that was put into this is really inspiring to creators like me, and it just looks amazing too. The effort wasn't useless. Although I did beat this one actually, and the gameplay is alright. I found some of it to be kind of annoying, but it's not bad. But what a banger level this is. Alright, number 7, we've got Astrolith. Astrolith, it's just such a beautiful level. There's no section of this level that doesn't look amazing. It features some amazing cutscenes and animations, this very cool train. I really like this turtle at the beginning too. It's just filled to the brim with a very nice art style, to the point where any levels that look like this will be called the Astrolith art style. It has great parallax, and yeah, it's amazing. The song is really nice too and fits it insanely well. This level's just an absolute masterpiece. However, the only thing is the gameplay is a bit unsight readable. Like, this level's gameplay is really not bad at all, but I just found it kind of annoying that it was a bit unsight readable and hard to tell where to go. But still, it was pretty nice to play nonetheless. Just a really beautiful level, and I can really respect the effort the creators put into this level, especially GeoGamer. GeoGamer put hundreds and hundreds of hours into this, which is just some really insane and respectable dedication. Overall, this level is very worthy of Mythic. It's a great level. Alright, at number 6, Galafuff cooked once again with Ever After. I just really like this level. Definitely one of my favorite platformers of all time. The backgrounds in this level actually look so amazing. The Voyager thing you're in the whole time. The cutscenes of the cube talking and everything looks so cool. It's got a bunch of cool worlds you can travel, and the design of the ship you're in looks so cool too. There's little characters in the worlds you can go to interact with, which is awesome. And yeah, the only thing that isn't perfect about this level, in my opinion, is of course pixel blocks. I'm hating on pixel blocks once again. I like that this level isn't super generic pixel blocks though, and has a really nice looking background. And yeah, I love this level. It is very great. I definitely think it should have been Mythic. Alright, at number 5, we got my favorite platformer level in the game. This level's kind of similar to Ever After. I feel like it was robbed of Mythic too. This is Decay by VegTam. This is just a really awesome level with a really cool story, and you play as this really nice little character who's like rotting away. It has a very cool story, and the decoration's amazing. This first part looks good, but this other part looks absolutely incredible. I love how this looks. And yeah, I just love everything about this. There's nothing about this level I dislike. And it's also cool how it plays like Geometry Dash 2, and you don't have to learn some other controls to understand it. And yeah, it should have been Mythic. Of course it didn't get Mythic for some reason, but it's a great level. Alright, at number 4, we've got Next Cab Soon. This level just has some awesome cartoony art styles in it, and it's not too realistic like a lot of the levels that I really like, but I still think it's incredible. While it has a couple parts that look slightly generic, it's still really good. There's some things, especially this transition right here, is just gold. That is amazing. It has a bunch of charming, funny little details all around it that you can notice if you look closely. And yeah, it just looks incredible. Another amazing GeoGamer collab. The coin is also awesome too. Like, there did not need to be that much effort put into the coin. My only problems with this level is the gameplay. I got a little bit frustrated with this gameplay, but it still isn't bad. That was probably just me though. I think everyone else thinks this level is really fun. And the fact that this level doesn't really have a coherent theme or story to it, at least from what I can tell. Maybe there is though, but I can always appreciate whenever a level has a bit of a theme and story, which I don't think this has that, but maybe it does. I don't know. Still very deserving of another Mythic on GeoGamer's account. Alright, moving to the top 3, just some of the most mind-blowing awesome levels I've ever seen. Let's get into it. At number 3, we got Magistro. Honestly, there's just so much to love about this level. It's got a really unique, recognizable art style and a lot of sick parallax layers. It has so much depth. The whole thing just feels so awesome, especially whenever the dragon chases you and everything. And yeah, I just can't get over how amazing this entire level is. There's not a single part in this level that I would say looks bad. The gameplay is fun too. It's a bit confusing and learny, but gets very consistent after you learn it, and I enjoyed it quite a bit. Although I definitely think this should be a medium demon, not an easy demon. And the song is banger too. Like, this actually might be my favorite song at the moment. Now, the only thing that is slightly wrong with this level is the fact that the optimization isn't perfect. It's definitely a bit laggy, but for me at least, it wasn't laggy enough to the point where it was harder to play. Other than that, I think everything about this level is just perfect. Alright, at number 2, we got a Mythic itself, Rage Quit by Blee. Yes, once again, Blee has blew us all away. This level is just, oh my gosh, the iPad animations breaking through all the screens. There's just so many amazing things that are so awesome going on everywhere. The part where the guy is breaking all the screens is sick. All the animations of the iPad is sick. Everything is sick. I actually could not believe my eyes the first time I was watching this. Like, was this really made in GD. And yes, it sure was. Not only that, this level doesn't even have high objects, and Blee made this in like less than a month, I think. Like, how is that even possible? That is so impressive. But yeah, once again, Blee has blown us away with his amazing optimization. Now, the only thing that brings it down for me a tad on this level is the fact that it's just stereo madness. But honestly, Blee took advantage of stereo madness so well, and I don't think you could have done anything better with stereo madness than what Blee did here. I just love how unexpected the level is the first time you watch through it. And yeah, this level is just too sick. The graphics and everything, it's just incredible. This level really wants to make me say Blee's the best creator of all time, but there's just one level I cannot get over how great it looks. One level that never gets old for me, no matter how many times I watch it over and over and over again. Coming in at the #1 spot, we've got none other than Metamorphosis. This level is very beautiful. When I try to picture the best Geometry deco I can think of, it wouldn't even be better than this. I just cannot get over how incredible this level looks. Every part is great. Besides, the glowy part at the drop doesn't look as good as the other parts, but I know it's really important for like the story and meaning of the level, so I can respect that. Besides that part, I literally think every part just looks perfect and it's peak decoration. But yeah, the level has a really nice atmosphere. I feel like it fits the song really well, and I love the song too. I think the song is great. Now, the only cons about this level is the fact that the optimization on this isn't so great either, and it definitely is pretty laggy, and the quality being slightly inconsistent, but I would still say it's pretty consistent, other than the drop being a bit of a different style than other parts. But still, like, I can't get over the last part, how amazing this part looks, in the first part too, and every part but those especially. For now, for the first year of 2.2, I can easily say it's my favorite level of all time, but this is just the first year of 2.2, and who knows what else we've got to come. We've got the Space Gauntlet coming up, and I can't even imagine what kind of masterpieces are going to be made for that. If the community could cook so hard with the NCS Gauntlet after that, why wouldn't they cook even harder again? I'm just very hyped to see what will happen in the next year of 2.2, and maybe in the next anniversary I'll make another video like this with, I mean, who knows how many legendaries we'll have by that time. Overall, personally, I'm really glad the legendary and mythic ratings were added to the game, and I feel like it just rewards a lot of amazing levels. Although I don't agree with a lot of RobTop's decisions, like making Metamorphosis legendary instead of mythic, nobody will agree with everything RobTop decides. Just because a level is legendary or mythic doesn't make the level better, it's really just what RobTop gave it. And yeah, the first year of 2.2 has been very awesome, and I really want to make this video to kind of celebrate that. It was really nice looking back at all the legendaries we've had and the recent ones and all the mythics and everything. And of course, let me know what y'all think. This video was purely just my opinion, so let me know if y'all disagree or agree. But with all that being said, thank you very much for watching. This video is very hard to make and took a lot of effort, so I really appreciate you watching. I really hope you enjoyed, and I can't wait to see what's to come for the community in the next year. Anyways, if you enjoyed this video, I got a playlist full of a bunch of videos similar to this right here. I also got a video right here of some levels I wish I could have included in this list, but I technically couldn't because they got epic, even though they should have been legendary or mythic for sure. You can check out that video if you want to, but yeah, have a good one everybody, and happy 2.2.